Hey everyone, today I'm gonna present you an audio reactive image to video workflow. So we have made this workflow and the pack of nodes that help us to do that and this workflow with my friend Lilian. So we have worked for like 2 months to make this pack. So this is of our node, like the blue one, the most beautiful one. So we have taken 2 months to make that, and it helps to basically schedule audio through the video for like animate div, control net, and basically just an IP adapter, and just give audio to all the pipeline process of video generation in ComfyUI. And so I'm gonna guide you step by step in this workflow. You can find it on the description, like for free, and you're gonna have also the GitHub. If you want to help us continue this kind of thing, please just give us a star on GitHub so we can continue for free to just give that. It really helps us. And so yeah, you have the workflow in the comments. I recommend you to go now. And for this workflow, you're gonna need some model. So I made a quick list here. You just have to go to the link, install the models, and you're good to go. And so for this image to video audio reactive workflow, you're gonna need, it's really simple workflow. You're gonna need a song, any song that you want. You're gonna need some image. For example, here I have 4 images, but I can like put, I don't know if I want, just a lot of one like that and connect it on this node. You can really have a lot of image if you want. And the idea of this workflow is that we're gonna switch on big peak on the audio, like you can see here, peak on the audio. And we're gonna switch on them. Like for example, we have an image, we see a peak, we switch to another image, we see a peak, we switch to another image, and it's gonna loop on the input image that you give to the input. So if, for example, you have 8 peak and you have 4 image, it's gonna loop over the image and just put it at each peak. So you can have smooth transition basically for infinite time. So yeah. And yeah, so you can see some preview here. I'm gonna synchronize them. I can't show you the song because I'm on YouTube and I don't know if I can really put a song. And also the audio is horrible if I just put it on my speaker. So you can just take a look on GitHub. I think I'm gonna put the render here. And so yeah, so let's go start the workflow. So now that you have installed the model, go to the workflow and things like that, we can start. So basically the workflow starts from the left and go to the right. So it's like that it works. So the first thing that we have to do is these 2 things, basically. The first one is gonna be to analyze the audio. And the second thing you have to do is to load your model and specify the video parameter that you want. The thing is in purple is the parameter for the output video that you want. So for example, if you want a output video of a 200 frame, you put it here. You're gonna put the frame rate here. You're gonna have the resolution here. So I have a square format, but you can have horizontal, vertical, like any that you want. So yeah, so it's this for the settings. And now for the audio part, you can see that we have some parameter that I think is new to you because it's a new pack. But I assure you it's really simple. This node gonna load a separation model, so it's a thing that's gonna help us analyze the audio in a better way for the audio activity. Like for example, by the way, this node is just to help us bypass quickly some of the group of this workflow, because if, for example, you want to test the audio to see if you detect the right peak, really have the audio the way you want, you can just bypass the diffusion, so the generation, so you can just like bypass them. And so it don't launch any generation and you can just work here. And when you're happy with the audio settings, you can just enable it. Okay, so you have some an audio separation model. I suggest you to use this one, but if you have any issue or just want to test something, you can also use unpenned mix. You can see the documentation of each of this model here. So what I just opened on the emote is a quick documentation that we have made for each of our node. So for example, if you want to see what node we have on our pack, you can go to the ComfyUI even node. You can just do a filter here, and you're gonna see all the nodes that we have here. And for each node, we're gonna have some documentation. We have node for convert, do some utility, or for the audio. So I'm not gonna explain each of these parameters on this video, but you just have to look at the doc. It's really simple. Okay, so now that we have input the audio and we have select what kind of separation that we want, like for example, this audio don't really have a lot of vocal. You can hear the result here. So I'm gonna choose drums because I know there are lots of drums in this one. So I do drums and basically I launch the workflow by clicking on Control and Enter, but it basically if I click here. So now that we have our separation and that we see on the graph what is happening, like we see overframe, what the audio look like and what is the strength of each of this one, you can adjust the parameter that you can see on the doc. Now that we have the audio weight, this is the way that we call them. We're gonna give these audio weights to another node that also have documentation. It is the audio peak detection, and what does this node is it's gonna detect the peak on the audio. So this one detects the overall audio and segments it based on the parameter that you give to him. But this one gonna like detect where the audio is at the maximum. So you can see I put just a display here. You can see that the peak have been detected at the frame 0. No, I just put the frame 0 because I can start with an image here, but there are no really a peak here. It's just the start of the video. But we detect a peak at 5, a peak at 18. Sorry, I'm not really English. And we detect each peak. You have some parameter here, like for example, this one gonna filter if you have a lot of peak weight behind each other. Like for example, you can see that we have this peak here, and we don't really want them because, for example, if I switch image, if I only have like one frame between two peak and we switch image at this peak and this peak, the switch gonna be like not really long and the transition not gonna be interesting. So we can do some filter by just incrementing this one, and it's gonna like do some kind of security around the peak to leave some space, and you have the threshold to select if you have peak detected that are too low, you can select them here. Okay, so this is for the peak, and we would put some parameter that you can see on the documentation, but basically we're gonna have the number of peak, where the peak occur, like on which frame. We're gonna have this thing that we don't use at the moment, but it's gonna like alternate between each peak the weight, like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and you can see by just displaying what is doing. And we have the peak weights. So now that we have our audio and that we detect where is the peak that we want our image to switch on, we're gonna give this information to our audio IP adapter transition. So this node do quite a lot of things actually. It's kind of a fork of the node IP adapter weight, but we have done a lot of thing to make it work with audio, but it's work in basically the same way as IP adapter weight if you know it. Basically, it's gonna take image as input, it's gonna take the weight of the peak, and it's gonna give at each like for each segment of peak a number of images. Like for example, from 0 to 5, we're gonna have this image. To 5 to 18, we're gonna have this image, and it's gonna loop on each image. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna do transition between this image. So this node allows us to tell IP adapter what type of transition that we want between each image. So for example, if you have a smooth music that you know is really like smooth, you maybe gonna want to increase the transition so you have smooth transition. And if you have a song that have like big change, you know, big drums, you're gonna reduce the transition length, and you can also play with the parameter that are explained here. And you're gonna have the mean and maximum, so it's basically the weight that you can give to IP adapter, and you can debug like see what's happening with the transition here. Like for example, if I increase the transition, you can see that we have transitions that are more long. And also I have this thing that I have not put in the workflow, but you can see on this video. Basically, when you connect the two images and the weight invert, you can see how the transition look like when we give it to IP adapter. So you can see that the transition gonna switch between image like that. And if I reduce the transition length, the transition between each image over the video gonna be way more like, you know, way less smooth. So you really have to play with that. Okay, and so we're gonna give it to two IP adapter batch, so we can alternate between like one image for this one, the second image for this one, the third image for this one, and like that, it's gonna alternate the batch that we give to IP adapter. Okay, now we have made the big parts, like the model and all the audio parts. Now we just have the prompt and control net and the animate diff, and after that, it's just diffusion. So we're gonna go to this part. So the prompt, you not have to modify it. Like, don't think about the prompt for most of the case, because you're not gonna have to change it just because of the fact that the style and what's gonna be inside the video is decided by this image. Like the image you give is really the style that you're gonna get. You can see on the example that is really the same thing. So I just put some default prompt to enhance the result in some case, and also some negative prompt to enhance the result, basically also in some case, but you can just leave it empty if you want. Okay, so now we have the control net. So this control net is kind of special. There are great chance that you never see in this one. Basically, it's a control net that have been made by, I'm not sure, but as an animate diff team, and have been adapted after that. It basically help make keyframe over a video of image. So this control net help us to really have the style of the input image specify at each time we have a transition. So when we switch of image, this node makes sure that the image that we have as input gonna be really identical, like look the same way, by adding the style of the image that he get as input from here. You can see that I give it here. You're gonna get the image and make sure to apply the style of the image at the specified index. So I give it the index from here, you can see, the peak index. And so it's gonna help have a more strong style and really rely on the image. If you want to reduce the strength of that, I suggest you to modify this parameter, like reduce this one or make it bigger, and just play with that. And for this one, you can just bypass it. You don't really need it. It just helps in a lot of cases, I think. If you have really different image and you see that the image don't really like morph together and it's not really smooth, having a node that just have a mask as input and have as a control net a QR code monster gonna help give some kind of context of motion for the animate diff model and the generation. Basically, it's gonna like uniform everything into a same kind of motion. And so I put it in really low weight, so it don't follow the shape exactly, but just kind of understand it when you want to do the motion. So you can better see the audio activity because the pattern gonna be more simple to see. And you can put any image, any mask that you want. You just have to have a black and white mask. And yeah, and for the animate diff, you don't really have a lot to change. If you want more motion, you can increase the multival. If you want less, you can decrease. You can add a motion LoRa if you want. You can check on the internet, you're gonna find it. And it's gonna basically add some specific motion on the result. So for example, this one gonna add some liquid to the result. So if you want to add some specific motion, you can do it here. Okay, so it's basically, we basically cover everything here. So if you want to add more image, you just have to increase this one, and don't forget that it's gonna loop over image. And so the last part, we can go a little about it. It's just the generation. So basically, I have made two groups here because it helps us to bypass or not bypass generation when we don't need it. And this work with LCM, so it's really fast. We only need 10 steps and you can go like lower. The parameter is LCM, but you actually need a 1.5 checkpoint. Make sure to have a 1.5 checkpoint, not a LCM1, not a XL or HyperSD, a 1.5. And we're gonna have the generation. We're gonna have the first part that is gonna be low res for low resolution for testing. After that, if the result is great for you, you can just upscale it with another generation. And when you're really happy with everything, you can use an upscale model that basically gonna enhance the number of pixels and kind of smooth some of the thing. It's really helpful. I like it. And I have a small one that is really fast and optimized. So yeah, you can find the workflow on GitHub. If you have any question, you can go to GitHub, contact us where you want. You can contact me or Lilian. And yeah, just have fun for the workflow. And basically what is hidden on the workflow, like collapse, is not a thing that you have to tweak because everything is kind of automatic. So yeah, just check the doc and yeah, just enjoy the workflow. You can go with any image that you want. If you can show us what you have done with it, I would be really happy about that. And also, just a small tips, if you want more detail and more long animation, like more smooth and more precise, if you increase the FPS, you're gonna have better results because the audio gonna be more precise when we have high FPS. And if you are a little confused about why we don't have a lot of nodes, is because I use something called set anything everywhere. That's gonna basically connect to the type of input that I say here. And so it's more easy to see what's going on and you just have to go over the node to see where the node come from. You can see here. So yeah, thanks for watching and I hope you're gonna like that. And please give us a star on GitHub if you can to help us continue. And yeah, that's it for me. Have fun. Bye.